In this race, Americans don't seem particularly fussed about parsing the facts. In analysis after analysis, Donald Trump outpaces Hillary Clinton when it comes to stretching the truth by a rate of about 4-1, and yet he still polls higher at appearing more honest. So perceptions clearly matter, but so does the truth. So let's dig in a little bit here. One of the most contentious moments in the debate was about crime. Donald Trump recently has been praising a program called Stop and Frisk. He was at it again tonight. Listen to this.
Now, whether or not in a place like Chicago you do stop and frisk, which worked very well, Mayor Giuliani is here, it worked very well in New York, it brought the crime rate way down.
Now, did it bring the crime rate way down? Did it actually work? There's actually no agreement on that point. Academics will argue about this. In New York, stop and frisk really started to be used in earnest in the 1990s. So have a look at the numbers here. In 1990, the murder rate in New York was roughly 31 per 100,000 people. That was far more than the national average. A decade later, it was down to less than 9 per 100,000. Was that about stop and frisk? Perhaps not. You know, the drop in crime rate had already started. It was happening in places where stop and frisk was not being used. And interestingly, that practice was stopped in 2013 when a federal court declared it unconstitutional. It was targeting minorities unfairly. And interestingly, you know, the biggest drop in the murder rate happened when the stop and frisk program ended. So Donald Trump was not right to be quite that definitive. Another thing to look at in this debate, a moment where Hillary Clinton tried to paint herself as the advocate of the little guy in the middle class. She took a very early swipe at Donald Trump's beginnings. And here's a little bit of their exchange about how he really started as a businessman.
He started his business with $14 million borrowed from his father. My father gave me a very small loan in 1975, and I built it into a company that's worth many, many billions of dollars.
So what was the size of that loan? It doesn't appear that the very first loan was $14 million, as Hillary Clinton said, but it also wasn't a small loan, as Trump said. It was, it seems, a $1 million loan in 1975. Then in 1980, his father loaned him another $7.5 million. There were more gifts and loans in the years to come that maybe over a decade added up to $14 million, but certainly that wasn't the amount of the initial loan. It is interesting, Peter, how much of this debate has focused on Donald Trump's finances, his business acumen. Predictably, his tax returns came up pretty combatively, too. Have a listen to some of the exchanges they had about his tax releases.
I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted.
There's something he's hiding. And we'll guess. We'll keep guessing at what it might be that he's hiding.
Does the public's right to know outweigh your personal?
Well, I told you, I will release them as soon as the audit.
You know, what is the big deal about these tax returns? A Quinnipiac University survey in August found that 75% of Americans want to see Donald Trump's returns. How much does he actually make? How much does he actually donate to charity? How much does he actually pay in taxes? Releasing these returns is something American presidential candidates have just come to do. It started in the 50s. It really began in earnest in the 70s. Look at this. Every presidential candidate since Jimmy Carter has released tax returns in the last 40 years, now including Hillary Clinton. And that claim of Trump's, by the way, that he has to wait until the audit is done, technically that is not accurate, and there's precedent for releasing them. Being under audit surely didn't seem to stop Richard Nixon from releasing his returns. But, you know, at the end of the day, here's the kicker. Does it actually matter? You know, Americans may want to see them, but do they need to see them to make a determination on their vote? No. An NBC Wall Street Journal poll recently said that of all the things that are going to make a difference for voters, only 6% of Americans said that they were most worried about Donald Trump's tax returns. He knows that. He knows come voting day, it's not going to make a whit of difference. So Americans at this point probably shouldn't count on seeing them before the election, perhaps if at all. It was 90 minutes of talk, Peter. It will be going on for days in terms of parsing it.